Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here with OddsJam, here to give you guys some NBA player props for today, Tuesday, February 7th. I went through the positive EV page and I locked in 8 total NBA player props already locked in that I really like. Just to do a bit of a recap from yesterday. So had a pretty good day overall. Up 499 or 557. It just depends on when the game finished, if it was past midnight or not. So these numbers are a little bit different. Overall, had a really good night last night. A lot of that was with college basketball, specifically with these NBA player props. I had 5 picks and I went 3 and 2. I got Robert Williams to get 10 plus rebounds. That hit. Jaden Ivey over 1.5 made 3-pointers. That missed. That was 2. And then I had Jalen Green under 3.5 rebounds. That hit. So that's 2 and 1. And then in the night games, I missed Jordan Poole to go over 23.5 points, but I hit Drew Holiday to go under 5.5 rebounds, giving you a 3 and 2 day with a little bit of profit, assuming you were able to get the real unit size that I wanted on each play. So for this video, I'm going to, like I said, I have 8 NBA player props for you guys. I will say, I always forget to mention this at the beginning. If you could give this video a like, would help me out a ton. If you could comment, let me know your tailing. Let me know what you think on these picks, would help me out a ton. And then, of course, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel if you have not already. And then if you want to find me on social media, you can at Jedi Modi, my Twitter handle you see on the screen here. And then on Pickett, if you want to follow me there, very betting specific at OddsJam_Matt. Let's get into it. Play number 1. Nikola Vucevic, Vuce, over 1.5 made 3-pointers. I know that this is the play because it's bolded. It's got the little green highlight surrounding it, telling you that this is the mathematically profitable, the positive EV play that we should lock in. OddsJam calculates the no vig odds of this one to be at about -101, as you can see here. I'll explain what that means in just a second. I did lock this one in, Vooch over 1.5 made 3-pointers. Of course, PointsBet has me heavily limited, so I could only get $2.38 on it. But for those of you at home who are unit sizing, I would have liked to put 70 or 3/4 of a unit, I should say. So whatever 1 unit is for you, put 3/4 of a unit on this play. But the reason why this play is profitable, everything is kind of derived from these no vig odds here that I mentioned at the beginning. The way these odds are calculated, so when it comes to sports betting, to kind of back up a little bit, not all sportsbooks are created equal. And what I mean by that is some sportsbooks do a better job at pricing odds. So with that thought in mind, what OddsJam did was they basically tested previous betting opportunities to let the data tell them, okay, these sportsbooks are consistently the best, consistently the sharpest at pricing odds. So then OddsJam collected that data. They pulled odds from those sportsbooks that were deemed sharp and then removed the VIG using a weighted average. And that's exactly what feeds into these odds here. So you can view these no vig odds as the true line, as the perfect line of a market, right? The most accurate representation of what a market should be. And then if we're able to get better odds than the no vig odds, then the perfect line, better odds just meaning higher payout, well, that is a profitable betting venture. And that's exactly what we have here, right? The perfect line gives this bet at about -101, which is telling you that it's going to hit over 50% of the time. We are getting it at +105 at PointsBet. That is profitable. And then what I do is just compare the odds of the bet that I'm placing to every other sportsbook and where they price a market at. Starting with the sharp one. So Pinnacle is very sharp with player, or in general, Pinnacle is very sharp, also with player props. They, heavily have this one favored at -127. BetOnline is another sharp sportsbook. They have this at 50-50. So BetOnline would price this at +100 with the VIG removed, which is still better odds than the PointsBet line at +105. Then DraftKings has it all the way up at -125. Caesars favors the over. FoxBet has it at 50-50. The two sportsbooks that don't favor it, FanDuel and BetRivers, clearly they're the outlier compared to every other book. So that's why this is a good bet. The Vooch over 1.5 made 3-pointers. Next up, Another 3-point market, we're looking at D'Angelo Russell to go over 3.5 made 3-pointers. This play is at plus 140 odds at DraftKings. OddsJam perfect line prices this at plus 134. DraftKings has it at plus 140. Just look at where the other markets price this. The closest book is PointsBet at plus 125. Every other book, FanDuel plus 120, BetRivers plus 117, BetOnline plus 122, FoxBet plus 115. They all price it pretty heavily below the DraftKings number at plus 140. So I locked in this one. I can only get $6.44 on it. You can't see that. Now you can. $6.44 on it. I would have liked to put $75, again, 3/4 of a unit on this one. So again, for those of you unit sizing at home, put 3/4 of a unit on this one. Limits is just the nature of the game when you've been sports betting, finding bets with an edge for long enough. So that's play number 2. Play number 3, we are skipping this Michael Porter Jr. one. Didn't like it, and I should say I didn't not like it. Let me rephrase that one. I'm skipping this one not because I didn't like it from a basketball perspective, but because I didn't like it from a value perspective. So I know I kind of fumbled through that, but when I skip a play, it's because I don't deem it to be a good enough outlier compared to the sharp sportsbooks, not because for my own handicapping I don't like it. So that is something that I want to be clear about. When you see me skip a play, it's not because, I just think he's going to go over, or I think he's going to go under, whatever. But one play I did like, that I did lock in, Jaren Jackson Jr. over 7.5 rebounds, minus 115 odds at PointsBet. Pinnacle all the way at minus 155. BetOnline at minus 139. Both DraftKings, Caesars minus 145, minus 154. This one I locked in, was able to get a whopping $2.87 on it as my third player prop for the night. We got it at minus 115. OddsJam perfect line prices this at like minus 121 if you want to round up from where the number you see here, minus 120.73. So another good play here, Jaren Jackson Jr. over 7.5 rebounds. Next up, we got DeAndre Ayton under 1.5 assists. This is at plus 130 odds at PointsBet. OddsJam perfect line prices this at about plus 126. So there's still the gap between these two numbers. And then again, if you compare the other sports books, the only one that is close is the BetRivers line at plus 120. Every other book we see plus 111, plus 112, plus 108, plus 110. Really good price here on DeAndre Ayton to go under 1.5 assists. Next up, finally a book that I was able to get the full amount on, Anthony Edwards under 2.5 made 3-pointers. This is at plus 110 odds, the Novig line is at plus 110. FanDuel offered it at plus 112. I locked this one in, as you can see right here. Anthony Edwards under 2.5 made 3-pointers. The full $75 on this one at plus 112 odds. Looking at the other sports books, Pinnacle actually favors this going under, which is insane at minus 115. The over at minus 114. They literally favor the under. The other sports books, while not quite as favorable as Pinnacle, are still closer to Pinnacle, like BetOnline at minus 104, DraftKings at minus 110, Caesars minus 109, BetMGM minus 110. All of them pricing it pretty decently below the FanDuel number, the three that are in alignment. And this, you see this a ton. I don't know why it's always these 3 books, but it's PointsBet, FanDuel, and BetRivers. All seem to be aligned. Like, you'll notice that as you go through these player props, but they're generally misaligned towards the rest of the sports books. So the FanDuel play is pretty good. And I will say, if I could pause for just a second here, a lot of these plays you'll notice are plus money, plus 112, plus 130, plus 140, plus 105. That's not necessarily done intentionally, right? I'm not looking for plus money plays, but the logic for betting plays that are plus money, because I get some questions about, like, why would you place this bet if it's unlikely to hit, right? Which I understand, but the goal is to, and this is going to sound dumb, and like, I'm not trying to sound douchey, but the goal is to make money, and we're not trying to win the highest percent of our bets. So when you're getting plays at plus money, your win percentage can be lower and you can still be profitable, right? Like plus 140, plus 130. You can win 45% of your bets and be making a lot of money at those odds. And it's all about the odds you're betting reflective of the entire market. So you could get a good value on the plus 141 because look at every other book and where they price it. I mean, we can also find value at minus 115 for the same logic. So I don't care as much about the individual odds of the bet I'm placing as I do when I compare those odds to the rest of the sports book. So you'll notice a lot of the plays I lock in are for plus money. That's not necessarily done intentionally, but I don't avoid those either. So I did want to mention that real quick. That was play number 5, Anthony Edwards under 2.5 made 3-pointers. Play number 6, and I'll go through these quickly. DeMar DeRozan over 25.5 points, minus 110 odds at BetMGM. MGM at minus 110. DraftKings heavily favoring it. Pinnacle heavily favoring it. FoxBet heavily favoring it. Then if you open the event page in a new tab, which just shows you where every other sportsbook prices it, BetOnline has this total priced above. They have it at 26.5 as opposed to 25.5. So another sign towards it going over. So I locked in this one. BetMGM let me get $23.66. I would have liked to risk $82.50 to win 75. Not always how it goes. Next up, we got DeMar DeRozan over 4.5 assists, minus 128 at FanDuel. Like I said, I'll go through these quick. Look at the other sports books, right? 2 are close, minus 137. Actually, really 1, minus 137. The rest, we see minus 150 up to minus 166, up to minus 169, which is Pinnacle. I locked in this one to win $75, so risk 96 to profit 75. I was able to get on FanDuel with no limits. And then the last play, we're looking at Aaron Gordon over 15.5 points, minus 102 odds at FanDuel. I locked in this one for $76.50 to win 75. So another play that I could get with no limits. And majority of sportsbooks outside of BetRivers favor this outcome, right? Pretty heavily as well. Minus 125, minus 119, up to minus 127, up to minus 129. Really good play here. A lot of player props for you guys to lock in, so I'll cut it off here. If you're tailing, like I said, comment, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on social media at JediModi. Like, subscribe, comment, helps me out a ton, and that's it. So appreciate you guys watching the long video, and have a good one.